Hello everyone. We, Gayathri and Radhika, present to you a video on Makar Sankranti, the day which marks the entry of the sun into the constellation of Capricorn, that is Makar. Many centuries ago, this day used to coincide with the winter solstice. Hence, even now, for the residents of the northern hemisphere, Sankaranti signifies the end of the winter season and increase in the length of daytime. It is believed to be the start of a new day for the demigods. Sankaranti is also known as the harvest festival, as it is especially significant to the farming community who depend on the sun and the natural elements of life for a bountiful harvest. Through this video, we summarize the 5 main traditions followed on Sankaranti that, interestingly, originate from the rural lifestyle and have little to do with mythological stories. Here is a typical farm with lush green fields, domestic animals and working farmers. Before the start of the winter season, these farmers harvest the kharif crops and store their produce in the brick barn. During mid-November, the bulls, guided by the farmer, plow the earth to bring up fresh nutrients by overturning the soil and to bury the previous crop decay underneath. Well water is used to irrigate the plowed land. Once the soil is made fertile again, rabi crops such as wheat, barley and mustard are sown. A scarecrow is affixed in the middle of the farm to fend off birds. Meanwhile, a small batch of the previous produce is further processed for personal consumption and stored in silos. This farmer is dehusking rice to obtain rice grains. Another farmer is splitting green gram. There is a horse cart to transport the rest of the crops to vendors. Here is a snake charmer luring snakes away from the fields. In the front yard, animals are sipping water or eating fodder from their bowl, while the woman is supervising them. These are the silos of rice grains, green gram, millet, brown sugar and sesame obtained from the kharif season. Sankranti comes at a time when the farmers have just completed the strenuous work of planting the rabi crops and are in the mood to relax and celebrate. They use the newly harvested kharif crops to prepare the sweets and snacks for the festival, through which they express their gratitude to the various elements of nature. The first tradition is lighting bonfires, which symbolizes the sun. Done on the day before Sankranti, this ritual is followed in parts of North India, most of the South, and in the state of Assam in the East. Depicted here is a family celebrating Lori in a village of Punjab. The mud walls of their hut are decorated with paintings of colorful kites. A rangoli has been made at the entrance. Outside the hut, a bonfire has been set up with twigs and logs, bringing warmth and light to the cold evening. The men and women are dressed in traditional Punjabi attire. This man is wearing a fancy turban, koti and patiala pants. Dressed in a salwar suit, his wife is holding a dish of grains that are added into the fire as an offering. Here is the brother, ready with a dhol hung around his neck to kick off the festivities. To the beats of the dhol, the family do Bhangra and Gidda folk dances around the merrily crackling fire. The dining area set up outdoors displays the upcoming sumptuous feast for the night, along with the tall glasses of lassi that have been placed on the table. The menu includes khichdi, the crunchy snack tilgul, makki di roti, and sarson da saag. Kheer made with sugarcane juice is the dessert. The second tradition is taking a holy dip in rivers or lakes on the morning of Sankranti to offer prayers to the first sun. This practice is observed in the whole of the north and most of the eastern states of India, where religious fairs or mela are organized in holy places to facilitate the dip for pilgrims. This is Parashuram Kund in Arunachal Pradesh, located in the middle of the bluish-green waters of river Lohit that flows through the Brahmaputra plateau. This picturesque place is surrounded by the eastern Himalayan range, full of greenery and wildlife. Legend has it that Parshuram was absolved of the sin of killing his own mother when he took a bath at this very spot. After the rise of the Makara Sankranti sun, pilgrims descend to the rocks of the raging river and take the holy dip in the belief that it would cleanse their souls. The second destination is Sagardweep in West Bengal, located at the confluence of River Ganga and the Bay of Bengal. A temple is built on the island in tribute to Kapila Muni, Vishnu's avatar. It is believed that centuries ago, King Sagara's insolent sons were burnt to ashes by Kapila at this very place. Their souls were ultimately liberated by River Ganga, who, pleased with Bhagirath's intense penance, descended to the Bhuloka and washed their sins away. Thus, on Posh Sankranti, the Gangasagar Mela is organized here. The pilgrims take the holy dip at the river-sea confluence and atone for any misdeeds. The Bengali delicacy, pitha, is prepared as the main offering on this day. The third tradition is flying kites. On the day of Sankranti, this activity is highly common in the west and central India, along with parts of north and south of India. Shown here is a Gujarati family from the Kutch region where Sankranti is called Uttarayan. This is the traditional round mud hut called Bhunga that is typical of the Kutch region as it is more resistant to earthquakes. The hut exterior is painted with beautiful designs. The family is sitting together outdoors to soak up the first rays of the Sankranti sun. The boys are busy playing kites that are sent up in the sky on this day as messengers to thank the demigods residing in heaven for providing abundant sunshine, rain, and breeze. The kids are dressed in traditional Gujarati attire of chorno, kediyu, with a fainto as the headgear. Their mother is making kites of different colors and tails for the children to enjoy. The elder sister, wearing chanya choli with chunni, is bringing water from the pond to help her father in cooking. The father is engaged in preparing the Uttarayan delicacy, undhiyu, along with jalebi and chikki to munch on. The fourth tradition is honoring farm animals, especially the cattle, who are considered to be a form of Nandi sent by Lord Shiva to help the farmers flourish and prosper. This custom is prominently seen in the southern states of India and Assam from the east. This is the scene from a village in Tamil Nadu where Sankaranti is known as Pongal. Here is a typical hut topped with hay and leaves. The front wall of the hut is painted with Pongal themed designs and torans. A puttu kolam is drawn at the entrance. The family is out in the front yard. The woman has worn a silk sari. Her husband is wearing a dhoti with angavastram. Their daughter is wearing pavadai davni. 2 pots have been placed with charcoal fires underneath. When Pongal and Chakrai Pongal are cooked, led to overflow and given as an offering to the first son of Sankaranti. Their son has washed and decorated their cow with a gold embroidered cloth and painted its horns and hooves. The cow is thanked for its invaluable contribution by applying a tilak, showering with flowers, and offering pongal. Later in the day, people also engage in community events such as cattle procession and bullfights called Jallikattu. The fifth common tradition is rejoicing with family, as Sankaranti is the time where Surya, keeping aside his differences with his son Shani, enters his ruling constellation of Makar. Thus, the festival fosters oneness in families through group activities like folk song and dance and distribution of sweets and snacks that is visible in every corner of India. Here is a glimpse of a village in the deserts of Rajasthan where Sankaranti is called Sakrat. The male villagers wearing colourful dhoti kurta with a pagdi are playing different musical instruments. The ladies wearing ghagra choli with chunri are dancing joyfully in pairs, reveling in the music. 2 men have brought food trays with Rajasthani delicacies of the day that include peanut til laddu, pakodi, feni, and poha. In the states of Uttarakhand and Tamil Nadu, an interesting tradition is observed. People offer food to crows in the belief that it promotes oneness in family. It is called Kanupidi in Tamil Nadu and Kale Kaua in Uttarakhand. One unique tradition of Sankranti is worshipping the star Mrigavyadha, known in English as Sirius, the dog star. This is done by the tribes residing on the mountains of the Western Ghats in the state of Kerala. Shown here are the locals of the Ponnambalamedu forest who traditionally light a large fire and perform Deepa Arati to the star on Sankranti evening. They call the star Makara Jyothi and consider it to be a form of Shiva who acts as a guiding light in the wintry nights in the absence of the sun. The fire lit by them is intermittently visible from the nearby Ayyappa shrine of Shabarimala and is popularly called Makaravilakku by the Ayyappa devotees. Thus, although Sankranti is known by different names in different states of India, the many practices followed across the country fall into a broadly similar pattern and can be condensed into 5 overarching traditions linked by the unifying theme, that is, thanking Mother Nature for providing abundant resources that keep us healthy and prosperous. Hope you all had a bright and sunny Makar Sankranti. Thank you for watching. Namaste.